Hi there, welcome back to Constant Agitation, a podcast by crunchyfingerschannel. This is our 19th episode, I believe, and today it's me doing the intro instead of Jimmy, which is the one that says hi to you normally. But yeah, as always, it's me, Eva, here in the studio with you, and together we also have Jimmy with us. How is it going, Jimmy?
Hey everybody, I'm having a rough day.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Silverfast
happening?
is driving me insane.
Oh.
I don't know, sometimes, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Silverfast is a scanning software. So I'm scanning some film, and sometimes it works really nice, and sometimes it doesn't work
It
at all.
has this. It seems like it has a mind of its own. Like, so the times for scanning they seem to be pretty reliable, but the times in between scanning, when you actually ask it to do something, it's random, super random.
It's one of the things that is driving me crazy about it. Sometimes it starts immediately, sometimes it doesn't.
And also the slow rendering of some changes when you make some changes and then it doesn't show up in the screen.
I don't know. Anyway, this is what's going on with me. Other than that, I think you're having a nice day. It's nice weather.
Yeah, it's
spring is here. So
spring is definitely here. Yesterday, the 3 days before today were super sunny, and we went out and we took photos, just for the sake of taking photos.
We did. We test rolled a red scale film.
Yes.
I don't know if we talked about this before, but we are working on a video, and during one of the rolls that we shot, accidentally flipped. And it was red scale. The last 3 photos were shot from the back of the film. So I had the idea of maybe I should flip some rolls and see what I can do with them. And I'm talking about 120, by the way. So 120 film flipped on itself.
Yeah, in the paper backing.
Yeah, because, well, it's strange that it would do that, but because we loaded it all the way, and then we loaded it another time in the camera to roll it back.
It was a happy accident, so to speak. Yeah, like I didn't load it properly in the camera, and then it got a little bit stuck, and then we continued rolling it, and it basically turned on itself somehow. I don't know, because I don't really know how it was. I just know when I put my hands in the dart bag, I'm starting to unwind the 120 to get it in the spool, and I'm like, this is not a normal edge of the film. And I realized it was a folded edge. And then I go in and it's like almost half of the roll was like folded. I'm like, what's happening? And then I remember that was the problem one. It's like, okay, let's just develop it anyway. And look.
Yeah, it came out pretty nice. So we should have maybe, we were not planning on talking about this.
No, that's true.
But you'll see them whenever we put the video up. And so I had the idea, what if I just take a few rolls in the dark bag and flip them and roll them up again? So I did that, and we were able, because red scale, you need a lot of light.
Since it's shot from the back of the film, basically the film has different layers. I think we have talked about this before. It's basically normally a cellulose acetate base layer, which then you put all the emulsions that will react to the light, to different colors of the light, one after the other. So in this case, the light, instead of going directly into the emulsion and hitting this light sensitive material first, it encounters the base layer, which is a bit thicker and it has a taint color, like different colors. The different films might have different kind of hues on the base layer, and then the light goes through that and it hits the sensitive layers. So the red is the base layer. That means that the red sensitive layer is the one that's gonna be exposed the first, and they're super red photos.
Yeah, I just noticed, speaking of colors, the white balance is off.
I am super yellow. I'm like a Simpson.
Yeah, the light was changing so much before we started.
You look very good, actually.
I look like a ghost.
No.
Well, yeah, the better camera is filming me over there.
Yeah. I'm a little bit orange. Pardon, I've been under the sun for way too long.
What else has been going on? How's everybody doing in the chat? Hope you can see us and hear us well. Hope you enjoyed last week's episode. It was really...
we kind of took some days to recover from that episode, I feel like, at least for me.
It was
emotional. Yeah, it was emotional, and it's needed to talk about this stuff. And I feel really happy that, photography as a art or as a medium is able to help out somehow in these situations. Although it's not everything, obviously. A lot of help is needed.
Of course.
Yeah.
But today we're going back to our usual programming.
Mm-hmm.
We have a photographer that Eva prepared. She wants to share with us some photos.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have a question from Tim. I think he's not here. I don't know. I didn't see his name
Maybe
in
he'll
the
come
chat.
out later.
But we're going to answer it anyway. Let's see if we can pull it up. So Tim is asking, why do my cameras keep breaking? Well, I don't know, Tim. Why? You tell me, why are they breaking? I don't know. It's a good question, though. I guess because they're old. I guess because, these cameras have been
I mean, that's
in
the first.
service for like 20 years, at
Yeah.
least 30.
That's the first thing that came into my head when I read the question, which can be taken as a joke or it can be taken seriously, whatever you want. But I thought, yeah, I mean, we're all working with very old pieces of equipment. And even though I think the majority, or at least the high-end cameras that are really old, the standards of fabrication, of building up and engineering and design are better than the equivalent of modern day cameras. So I don't expect a modern day high-end camera to last as much as some of the very good old analog cameras that we might have or people might get a hold to. So given that, I do think that, we're working with old equipment and some pieces are bound to just worn off, I guess. Like we got a camera recently and then we just opened the back and the light seals were completely disintegrated. It's not even a matter of like I threw my camera in the ground and it broke. No, it's just that camera was not used for decades.
Yeah.
And then you open it and it's like, okay, this is not working anymore. So it really depends on the camera you have. The more mechanical, I believe, the better, and the more things are made, I guess, of metal, it's more durable than plastic and polymers and stuff like that.
Yeah, plastic is weird. The other day I opened up this Canon Prima zoom. I like Canon Primas, like the smaller, like point and shoot ones with no zoom. They're really well made and they work. They're super tiny. But we got one that zooms and it has so many plastic gears inside, and that's a problem because they break. I found a bunch of broken gears in there, and the camera wasn't dropped or anything. It was working, and then one day the gear just gave out. The cool thing is that you can 3D print gears.
Yeah.
So you can fix those relatively easily. You can replace it. If you know how to draw a gear in CAD, which is a simple process basically, not a very complicated one. When there is open source software that you can use to redraw or design whatever you want, and then you can print it. But with the electronic cameras, it's really difficult because there's so many soldering, so much wiring in there. It was super tight. Like some of the cables I had to desolder just to move it. I didn't need to desolder it, but it was so tightly packed that I couldn't move the board out of the way to reach the gear unless I desoldered the cables on the board, which is a more risk that I needed to take because the electronic were fine, but it was just the gear. But yeah, that's to the point that mechanical cameras are fairly simpler. I don't know what cameras he's talking about though. But
I know that he has some problems with light leaks or like mystery light leaks.
I think it's because he keeps throwing them out of windows.
So I've seen on Instagram.
Light leaks.
He had a Hassi bag that mysteriously had light leaks and they couldn't fix it, and it was a bit weird.
Yeah, they fixed it like 3 times and
right?
Yeah.
Like that's annoying because then it's like not really an answer to it. It's why is it happening?
I don't know. I think because they're just trying to keep it beautiful. My solution always worked. Duct tape the whole thing on the outside and it won't light leak anymore. It won't look as beautiful, but it will work.
But the other day there was someone on the channel also that had a half frame. It was a pen W actually, and completely taped up, and still there were like light leaks inside and super weird marks. So
I don't know if they're using proper tape. My tape doesn't leak.
Which tape do you use?
I don't know. Not a sponsor, so I'm not gonna say the name. I just use normal gaffer tape. Sometimes you put multiple layers and it stops.
Black one, better.
Yeah. How about we look at some photos? What do you think?
Yes, I think that's very nice idea. I actually found this photographer going through my history of photography books because I thought, there's a lot of people we don't really know about if you don't really sit down and study photography in a sense. And those books, I got them just because I wanted to look at photographs. So I have to admit I have not read through them so much. So I was like, okay, let's just go back to the beginning, see if I see something, just what catches my eye. Then I start reading, is it an interesting story? Why are they part of the history of photography? And that's how I found this photographer. His name is Christy. Before we start, since Christy made a comment, I can give you 50-year warranty for a service camera that was made between 1920 to 1955. I'm almost not exaggerating.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the point. The simpler it is, the less likely is going to fail. And the cameras from that time, I assume they were bare bones, straight to the point. No bells and whistles that you don't need. Or,
I wonder, because now, I guess a camera producer nowadays could potentially make a really
indestructible camera,
so to speak, like if they would use the right materials and the right engineering. What is the reason that these things are not made? Is it because people would not really pay how much it costs to make such a piece of equipment? Or is it just because they are not really interested in making something so long-lasting?
No, I think it's the economies of scale. The fact that you're trying to manufacture like so many. Even back in the day, they were producing a lot of cameras, but the numbers, are so much different now. You don't consider it really, but even with all of these companies that are producing, so the market share is split between all of these different manufacturers, there's still much more. How you say it, like the number of people that are buying these products are much higher than before. And I'm just thinking now, I have no evidence to back this up, but I think I think that's a big part of it, is that they want to put down the cost everywhere they can. So really it doesn't matter. They know most people are going to want the newer one in 3 years time, 4 years time, 5 years time. So the cameras don't need to last. If you make a full HD video camera, for example, it's going to be obsolete soon and with 4K. Until they reach a point where it's like we don't see any more substantial
advancement or improvement
in this technology, then you're going to start to see some manufacturers maybe differentiate themselves or separate themselves by using higher quality materials and stuff like that. But even the highest quality stuff now that I call like highest quality are still vulnerable, sometimes more vulnerable than other cheaper brands. Like if you think of Leica, for example, or Hasselblad, often they need repair and it's very expensive.
Yeah.
But when you consider better, like more affordable manufacturers, you find that they make more durable cameras. And now there's a market for durable designed product.
Oh.
Like you always see these cameras that are like rugged, or like these cell phones, rugged version. I think Olympus did one, Nikon did one.
There's the adventure lines of some of them,
where it's like weather sealed and you can just take it underwater. Like the GoPro stuff, for example. These are, rugged cameras that you can do whatever you want with them. But, they won't give you all the techs, like the extra features, the latest tech in them. Some of them do. But again, it comes back. There's always this trade-off.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. It's like, do you want something very new, very top of the art, or state of the art, state of the art, or do you want something that may be less in that regards, but is more durable, it's gonna last longer, it's been proved to be good? I don't know.
And like, for example, the GoPro, I know for a fact that they did the GoPro up to the GoPro 7. If the glass on the camera breaks, you can easily replace it
yourself.
Yeah. The 8 and 9, you cannot replace it. So if the glass breaks, you have to buy a new GoPro or take it to them, so they charge you more. Yeah,
we go in another territory here, right?
So they always have to make more money, and that's how they work. From all the companies work that way, and the biggest villain in that regard is Apple.
Yeah.
There's so much talk about this stuff online, and the right to repair and all that stuff. And hopefully with the people fighting for the right to repair, we start to see more uh, you know, design choices that are made in the sense to make the product more reliable, because then even because you cut off the income for the companies that they can exploit to charge you more money because they're the only ones who can repair. So like if they design something that you can easily repair yourself, they might as well be above the competition by making it that you don't even have to repair it.
Yeah, more
So
durable,
it's
more
better
valuable.
built,
Yeah.
you know. But if it does break, then you can repair it. So that's if the right to repair fight wins in some way, which I don't necessarily, I would love for it to happen, but I don't know, especially when you go into like more recent technology and stuff like that, the super nano
That's
stuff.
the drawback, right? Even if they allow you to repair it, are you gonna be able to, since the technologies advance so quickly? And yeah,
Tim just came by and is like, I drop in and immediately Jimmy is preaching the word of the right to repair. Hallelujah. Yeah, hallelujah for sure, man. And we're just still answering your question. We tried to move on, but
came back.
and we came back to it accidentally. But yeah, you wanna let's talk about
Let's
Albert.
talk about Albert. So Albert was a photographer born in the late 1900s, and he did most of his work, like about 50 years of work in the 20th century. And he was, so you remember we looked at the work of Imogen Cunningham, which was part of the group's F64 in the US, which was a group opposing pictorialism and emotive photography, so to speak, and they wanted to focus in objectivism and the realism of photography, and photography as a medium to really represent the world as it is. So this photographer, Albert, started a movement almost at the same time as this group 64 in the US, but here in Europe. It is a movement called New Objectivism, and it's basically also, the concept is the same, is photography in its own rights can be used as a tool to depict the world and to establish a relationship with the objects and the things that are around us. And they can be beautiful as well. So what we are seeing here, you're opening some of them, right?
Yeah, I open a bunch. Maybe look at this monitor, because then you can see it in real time.
Yeah, so he started mostly working with nature-related stuff, a lot of detailed botanical work, but also landscapes. So here we're seeing some of the landscapes. The one you just showed before, I really enjoy it. I think he just works with the lines and the compositions really nicely.
He does, for sure. And the contrast in these, I assume, prints. Yeah, this is a gelatin silver print. It's just so beautiful. The tone, everything about it is so nice. Here is some of more throwback to Imogen.
This is the botanical portraiture, I would call it. He really wanted to. So he was a person that said that the closer you can get to your object and the more two-dimensionally you are able to represent your object in your photography, the closer you are to its true nature. Like if you are able to really depict this texture in the two-dimensionality medium that photography is. And I think he actually did it really good. And he also did something that I found pretty interesting. He has a lot of landscape photography in portrait orientation, which I think is pretty interesting, and it's something that wasn't really done before. He is really good at finding the lines, the repetitions, the patterns, the moods of these scenes, and really represent them in a very nice frame and composition.
This one is really beautiful. And I really like, it's not just about the composition, something about the tonality of his images are so beautiful. I don't know, I think some of it has to do with the fact of the way it was printed as well. This one has a warmer tone in comparison to the other ones we were looking at previously.
Yeah, there are some that are a little bit tinted, so I guess the process was different.
It's the same. They're all gelatin silver prints, but maybe this one has aged a little bit. This one is really beautiful, again, with the household items, or tools.
So this one actually, it's he also spent a lot of time trying to represent crafts and trades in a sense, but through representing the repetition of the new machines and the new industrial era that was happening while all this was being developed. So he thought that the new technologies and the new advances in the industry, what they were bringing was repetition, mass production, like pa 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 pa, always the same. So he tried to represent that by having a lot of repetition in his photos and in his subjects. And this is one of the examples of it as well. So these are actually from shoemakers. Okay. It's like tools produced for shoemakers.
Look at this one.
This one is so beautiful.
It is so gorgeous. Again, a gelatin silver print. This one is printed in 1950. And it's called Bridge Over the... I can't pronounce the name of the reservoir. Möne, I think. I mean, I'm reading it in Swedish. But
Bridge over the Möne reservoir, I guess.
Möne.
Siam is commenting, Die neue Schwarzlichkeit. Everything sounds so much more serious and harsh in German. That's basically the new objectivism, which is the
name of the movement.
The name of the movement, that we were saying.
Here, again, another example of the tools. So
he also... this is not so much in that line, but what I read is that he was a pioneer in the topic or in the genre. I always have so much trouble with that word. Genre of industrial architectural photography. So because of all the industrial revolution was happening, he was very attracted to represent those buildings and those big factories and big machines that were actually produced for these new technologies that were coming in very clear, close-up, big depth of field renditions of the photographs he was taking.
I think some of that is I've seen. Can't remember the name of the photographer, but it was a photographer who was doing 8x10 photos of processors.
Oh yeah, I remember.
I will find the name after. I will get it before the end of the podcast.
So they were like big chips and circuit boards.
They're not big. They're small, but he's doing a macro on an 8x10.
Yeah.
So he's blowing it up really big.
Yeah.
We will look at those in a bit.
Yeah.
This one is a bit different than the other ones, but still in the same.
Yeah, so this is, relatively at the beginning of his career, he also had 2 assignments where he wanted to represent, how people were living and how the cities and how the architecture urbanism was actually changing with the changing times as well. What else do we have here? So for the persons listening to this at home, again, we have all the links in the description. So if you can go to the first link, we're looking through the gallery at Artsy. This one that you're showing now, I really love it. This is what I was saying about vertical landscape photography, which is something that, to me, very appealing to the eye. And he's always kind of trying to find this, again, repetition, these patterns, this rhythm within the natural realm, and then later the artificial realm we can think of it. But I think he thought the existence of this repetition in nature and in also all the times that they were developing, it just kind of brings them together, and we are able to represent them both through photography. So kind of like an unity tool in a sense.
All right, we have this other gallery.
Yeah, so this one I select this gallery because it really has the things I like about the work that he has done. This is a bit more contrasty work. There's a lot of close-up shots. There is a lot of detail. And again, although the repetition, trying to find the geometry and the lines in the objects that he was photographing, because the majority of things are objects.
I really like this one.
The glasses one? I really like the botanical ones, and also some of the architectural or like industry work also is really cool, because there's so many angles, so many. It reminds me of like always when I'm near some structures made of iron, like quite, complex, like the Eiffel Tower is a very clear example. More than seeing the Eiffel Tower as a tower in itself, I really like looking at these little patterns that are happening all across.
This building looks so familiar to me. Do you know where it is?
No. I'm thinking that the
Maybe
size
it looks similar to something else.
so shape wise it looks very similar to that hotel that is on the road from here to
Solna?
Stockholm.
Yeah.
In Kista. It looks very similar in the shape.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very similar. Maybe that's how it looked before they put the glasses on.
Yeah. Well, I think the proportions might be a little different now that I'm looking at
Yeah,
it.
it's a bit taller. But
The other one is, this section of it is taller.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool.
There, for example, those, I guess that's a mushroom or something similar to that.
It is. It is definitely a mushroom. This is the stem that has been chopped off.
The thing is that, like these kind of photographs, this in particular, first that I look at it and I feel like I'm tripping, somehow I feel the movement in it, but I think it's because of the pattern. But it's so difficult to get proper lighting to get these kind of shots.
Mm-hmm.
Like the attention to how the light is falling on the subject is so perfect.
It is. I wonder how it was captured.
Right?
Do we know anything about what tools he used?
All I read throughout, I couldn't find anything about what kind of cameras. I'm a bit frustrated. It was the same last week, not the week before that, with Lucien, that I couldn't find. And even my father asked me, what kind of camera did he use through Spain? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes it's difficult to find the information. This one is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I wonder what happened. The exposure is, I mean, this is very bright. Or what is happening here?
So if this is a cacti, I assume, and the center, it could actually be that is the beginning of growing up a bulb for a flower. So sometimes they change color, and then it starts growing in there. But it's strange because I don't know if it's concave or it's convex. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's a dome or if it's like
a
valley. So he plays a lot, I guess, with the perspectives and the perception of the objects he's photographing.
Yeah, but it's really, I really like it. And you see this ring on the outside that is bright. I'm assuming it's bright. I mean, unless it's uninverted. But no. Why does it look like this here? I don't know.
I think they have like hairs. This cacti has like hairs.
So
and when there's a lot of hairs, it's brighter. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I know the one now that you're talking about. It's really interesting, really cool in black and white.
Yeah.
These photographs are reminding me of some of multiple photographers.
The Korean one that we saw.
The one that Yuno shared with us. Yeah.
But bien something.
Yeah.
Bien Jung.
Bien you. But let's not try. We're just gonna make it.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of it.
Right. It's very, very similar. Oh, these are so cool.
Yeah, these are what I meant about like
patterns. And repetition.
Patterns and repetition. And of course, obviously, we look at it now and we know exactly this is from an electrical factory, right? There's no question about that. But it's so nice that he focuses on isolating these little details, and of course the repetition there and the composition is just so cool. It has your favorite diagonals in them.
Yep. This one is pretty nice. Oh, I clicked accidentally. I really like the people in the frame. I think they're the main focus.
Yeah. So this the one that you just showed. Yeah, it's from when he went out to, I think, to represent Lübeck and Hamburg. He was working in those two cities and taking photos in between as well. And that, I think, some rural and some urban stuff. This one is so nice.
Yeah.
That's like, I really like that one.
Your kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Although it's a bit off center, huh?
I have to say that some of the photos, even you show a couple before, like for example, the one of the trees, of course, it's his photo, it's his choice. But sometimes there are these little details that I'm like, I would have maybe not done exactly that. I would have moved this way. And sometimes I am annoyed at myself that I cut myself with these thoughts when I'm looking at someone else's photograph, because it's not about me. I'm watching what that person did but sometimes I'm like, this, like, it could have been maybe better this way, but I'm like, I want to move away from those kind of thoughts, you know. Yeah. But it's true. Like, I thought that in that and then in some other ones as well.
And this one is freaky. It's a snake.
Yeah. This is...
so much detail in what do you call these? I forgot what they're called.
The skin?
Yeah, the
plates of the skin?
Yeah, I forgot what they're called.
Do they have a name? I know it in Spanish. I don't know in English. It's the same thing that the fishes have
exactly.
that you had to take away before eating. Scales, maybe.
Yeah.
Um,
This one is so pretty.
what do you guys think about these photographs? Maybe leave us a comment, see if
Thank
you like.
CM.
Oh,
he
yes.
just helped us with the scales.
Okay. Yeah, so this is more of the botanical one. These are the buttons. I also really like it.
Yeah.
This is...
You want me to go back to this one?
No, because actually we have another link where we can look at some more botanical ones I prepared. But before we go there, I want to look at the second to last one. Yeah, this one. I really like this photo.
Yes. I mean, these themes in all these photos, we've seen them now like so many times. But again, like in context to the time they were being done. And again, this one is really cool. Even like, I've seen some crazy stair photos, but something about this one, I prefer this one to just I think the space, the amount of negative space in this one makes it so appealing to me, and the different lines, because you have these straight, what they seem to be like wood,
and the curved ones,
and then you have the curved metal bars. I think I really like the blend, and sometimes you can't even tell which one it is. Like this line, is this a wood
or is it
is it metal?
And you know,
metal,
when I was looking at this photograph for a moment, like I got absorbed in it, and I stopped seeing the negative space as part of a structure, and I saw it as ethereal, like air, like this was a structure outside, and when we're seeing white, it's actually the sky up, and then it just changed completely what it was in my head.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then
like imagine that it's not, because obviously now we know that it's floor, you know, because it's where the stairs are.
Yeah.
But if you stare at it long enough, something made me just not see that it was part of the structure.
Yeah. It reminds me of this toy that I played with when I was a kid. It's like a puzzle, and it's a silver rail with a string. Sham has it. I don't know if she still has it, but it was her toy, and it was a string, a loop that you have to kind of weave outside the metal framing.
So it's like a puzzle.
Yeah, it's a puzzle. I said it's I think a Japanese puzzle or something. I think you still find them today, and it's a rope that is a loop of string basically that is stuck to the metal, is hooked to the metal. But if you move it around just the right way, you can separate the two.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah.
That's the mind games to try to
rope puzzles, I think they're called. Some of them have like wooden balls, and some of them have a lot of things. They're really cool.
Some loops and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I kind of understand what you mean. It's just like you hollowed it out. In a way,
yeah, exactly. Like the negative space really became negative. It wasn't even like part of what it was being photographed.
Yeah, there's a light bulb over here.
Yeah, I guess. Maybe I didn't pay attention to that.
Yeah. Oh, Sham says she still has it.
Nice.
Yeah. Let's see. The chat have some interesting messages. I have a plan to focus on close-up photography for a role or two, partially inspired by Wesley I can't pronounce. Yeah, I guess that's the name. It's interesting and a bit inspiring seeing these shots. Yes, it's definitely something really fun to do, because I think doing macro stuff, you just free yourself from the mercy of natural light in a way.
Yes,
I mean, you can still use natural light, but if you have some lights lying around and it's rainy and foggy and, gloomy outside, it doesn't matter. You can do it at any time, whenever you want. So it is really, really fun, fun thing to do, to play with macro. And I think if you want inspiration, I think you watched all the episodes, but there's a bunch of episodes where we talked about people getting close-ups of most of these. I think the Imogen one was one of those. Who
Rodchenko
else?
probably has also some stuff like that.
Rodchenko was mostly outside and different paintings.
No,
but anyway.
But Rochette also kind of focus on the details and stuff, and the rhythm and the repetition. Maybe that's why I'm confusing it a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's the movement
Yeah, it's
was
similar.
it's basically the Russian constructivism is similar to these movements, to this one that was happening in Europe, and to the
US,
F64, wasn't it?
Yeah, F64
Group. But I think they went. The Russians went a little bit different. They weren't exactly the same. This one is very similar in the objective of the mission, but I think the Russians did it more abstract. Let's say.
Yeah, I know what
There was more abstraction happening. And it wasn't. It sounds like it's the same, but it's not the same.
No, because they kind of take away the abstract part. It really also creates like a new perception, rather than these photographs. They really wanna like get what is there, and there is no question for you to really even think about what it is. You are being presented with the truth, which is kind of what they were after. Yeah.
And then like you extract the beauty by framing it in a certain way, or by like showing that it's the light and the shadow and it all falls perfectly, and it's beautiful the way it is. That's what's happening here. There it was, I think, further into the abyss of no detail, basically, no rules, or I don't know how. I can't speak for it really, but I can just feel it when I look at the photos.
I really like Sham's comment saying it's quite interesting that he chooses nature and artificial objects in a similar way, and I see that a lot all throughout the work. It doesn't matter if it's early botanical work or some of the landscape work, or then later still life to architectural photography, industrial photography. It really shows that even though he did all these different things, they were all kind of together by a common thread, which is the repetition and the rhythm. Yeah, kind of. That I cannot really. I keep saying the same thing, but that's how I see it. I see it being portrayed everywhere in his work. Yeah.
Chris is saying that he doesn't see a connection between here and Rodchenko, and I agree. I think what Eva was referring to is the philosophy of the constructivism and what is
new objectivism.
The new objectivism. Yeah, but again, I think a part of the initiation of the idea is similar, but I think they manifest it in different ways.
Okay, yeah.
Like, so for example, the constructivist would do a piece of two different fabrics next to each other, and it's just like what the artist is trying to tell you. Look at these two fabrics, and look how you can do, how you can create something beautiful just by putting two different materials next to each other. So it was more about the quality of the material, and the abstraction of it, that you can take it in your mind. I think the objectivism and the I don't know what the Group 64 called their movement. We talked about it, but I forgot.
Wasn't it like more like modernism they were saying, or
I forgot? But they both of them are kind of letting go of pictorialism.
Yeah, that's for sure is a common topic there, and focusing of representing the truth, and also being true to the photographic tool. They were also saying the photography in its own right, in the things that it's capable of doing, it should be exploited to portray this beauty that is around. Yeah.
So I mean, I think I agree that that's a nice thing to do. I mean, they're free to do whatever they want. They chose to kind of be strict with the way they take the photos. But I don't necessarily think that's, necessarily the only way. Or, I mean, yesterday, for example, we had 5 rolls to develop. So there were 3 rolls of 35 and 1 roll of 120. We're using Jobo. So we had a place for 1 extra roll. We're like, okay, let's go out for a walk and shoot a roll. So I loaded up a roll of, what was it? Fuji Superia expired like 20 years ago. I don't know when it expired. And I decided it's 400. I decided to rate it at 50. Still didn't scan it yet, but I can tell you this. It wasn't enough light for 50 ISO film. And so the idea was I can try my best to shoot with the Rolly. So it's 120 at f3.5 razor sharp depth of field, or I can just not try to be stable and shake the camera intentionally. And we were previewing the and I love those kind of photos. I mean, not just because I'd like to take them, but when I see them, and I find artists that post a lot of impressionist, let's call them, photos, something about them is just so beautiful.
I agree.
And it's so, and I think that falls under pictorialism.
Yes, and to be honest, when I saw these photographs by Albert, and I really liked them, and I really like a lot of his work. But I also love the pictorial part that photography allows. I love both things. So I mean, maybe back then in the time that they were living and with the art waves that were happening, things were a little bit black and white, or either you like this or you like that. But to me, like, they are not enemies. They are not opposite things. They kind of complement each other when it comes to the photographic art. But of course, I'm talking from a perspective of the 21st century, someone that is not really there when all these things were actually being advanced and it was so new, right? So I think my perspective is just different than how it was there. But I see beauty in both ways of taking photographs.
Yeah, I mean, all I'm just wondering about in my head is what was the need necessarily for such a movement, you know? I don't know. I don't necessarily know. Maybe it's just a political move. I don't know.
I have to say that reading through this, and now you have now up the...
All right, tell us about this book.
Yeah, so this is the most popular book by Albert, and it's also kind of like a seminal book in the history of photography. It's called This World is Beautiful, I believe. This is in German. Yeah, This World is Beautiful.
I mean, yeah.
This actually wasn't the title that he chose for this book. It was the publishers. He wanted to call it Things, but they didn't allow him because he wasn't poetic enough or whatever. So they changed it to This World is Beautiful. And it's basically 100 photographs of super detailed shots. Everything that we were seeing before about these super close-ups. And he published it in 1928, so he had already a few years of work in his back. A lot of the botanicals were included there. And here in this page, we left the link below. You can access an excerpt of it. This is the first 16 pages of the book, and they're mostly botanicals here. What I wanted to say about this book is when it came out, there was a lot of people that really appraised the new perspective in photography and in representing the world, but it wasn't all people that really liked it. There was also a lot of criticism saying that this kind of movement in photography and in art was kind of how were they saying it, that there was a criticism because this brought a naive idea of the photographic realism, and it ended up aestheticizing everything.
Aestheticizing?
Aesthetics. Aesthetic.
Yeah.
I didn't know even that was a word. Aestheticizing everything, and that would obscure the social realities that were happening around. So at the same time that all this industrial revolution was happening, there was a lot of social inequality and social problems as well. And that focusing that everything is beautiful and the world is beautiful doesn't really help out the case of trying to help people that are suffering throughout these times. So those were the people that kind of criticized this new...
Yeah, but those people just want to, I mean, look, there's always going to be problems. Then nobody can enjoy anything.
Exactly. It's isn't it art supposed to be reliving in a sense? And
it's supposed to be whatever it wants to be, Like the fact that you want to politically control what art is just stupid to me.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what results come out of it. I might appreciate the results, but still the idea is stupid that you want to politicize art. Yeah, art can be political, but just putting rules, because I think it kind of interferes with the freedom of thinking.
Yeah.
Not even speech. Like you're not allowed to
creating
think
something in a certain way.
How do you be creative? You think about something and then you try it out and you see what comes out.
Yeah.
So it's the absolute freedom to just, because you're going into something that you don't even know what's going to come out of it, right? So you're taking a chance, and the taking away that thing I feel like it limits creativity and it limits everything. It's like, why don't we just live in cage, and that's where you drink your water, and that's where you know, dispose of it when your body is done metabolizing. You know what I mean? It's like, it's silly.
Yeah. I do actually see kind of the point of the development of this side of photography, you know, because up to the moment, all the pictorialism, I think it wasn't really exploiting all the capabilities of that photography had, you know, and I think this kind of photography is really like pushing to its limits to do a hi-fi representation of what's around, which wasn't something that existed before photography. It had to be done through a painting. And yeah, you have realism painters, and you have painters that are really good at almost copy what you are seeing. But now you had something that it was able, according to them, and we know, to just make a carbon copy of what they had in front of it. And then they could focus on these details and really get the essence of it.
Yeah, I am not disagreeing.
No, I'm just saying why might actually come up when it didn't exist before, you know.
Yeah. Again, my response was mostly to the fact that, this shouldn't be a thing because there is suffering. There's always suffering. You can't stop the suffering. And what are you doing to help the suffering? You know, is complaining about a book like this helping? I doubt it, you know?
No.
Sometimes, maybe in today's society, people like to jump on trends that maybe has nothing to do with the issue, but to highlight a specific issue. And that way, maybe you get more people talking about the issue, potentially more people helping with the issue. But I still think it's negative, and I don't like piling on in general. I just appreciate if you make something from the start that actually gets attention. Just put kicking down or putting somebody down to do something good is not the best way to be good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and also I don't think, or at least I don't think that this new art movement or the new objectivism, I guess they maybe felt threatened. This is gonna take over everything, and everyone is just gonna focus on how everything is perfect or beautiful, and we don't care about anything else anymore. I don't think that's really the case, but those were kind of the things that were going in their head. The PDF we're going through,
I really like this font.
Yeah, right? The PDF we're going through now is like a catalog of an exhibition that they had super comprehensive about the whole life work of Albert. Starting from the botanicals and the landscapes, and then moving into the other areas that he did. And I really like a couple of photos that they chose to highlight here. This one is really nice. I think this photo could look so good also upside down. Somehow I have the feeling of they wanted to look it upside down.
Yeah.
It happens to me with some photos.
Yeah, I can confirm it does. It hurt my neck.
It does look good?
Yeah. Let's see, what else do we have here?
This I really love this photo of an orchid because at some point
it looks like a spaceship. I always thought orchids look like alien technology.
Yes.
But I haven't necessarily seen an orchid in this precise moment.
It looks like someone is sitting there and maneuvering something. The little thing in the middle, it looks like a pilot.
Exactly.
I had the same thought when I saw it. I'm like, this looks like there's a little person in there.
It's so cool.
It's really cool.
I just realized that I haven't seen any orchids at this level. I've seen so many orchids. There's one right next to me over there.
Yeah.
I always see them open. Have you seen them closed?
Only when they're about to open like this. But I never really pay super attention on how they look.
Yeah, we gotta pay more attention to orchids.
Yeah. Then from the botanics, then moving into also portraying people and people working.
Yeah. I was checking out the comments, but I'm very slow at reading.
Sure. Here is the one we were mentioning before. And this PDF is nice because it also brings you back to points in the history of his work. Like, for example, this photograph is the last photo of the book This World is Beautiful that we were talking about. And they say that most probably he chose this photo to be the last one as an example of of, it says here, like it brings together, throughout the book you have things that are organic, natural, and you have the inorganic of the technology and the things, and then putting these human hands in the end in this position, it was kind of meaning that all this is part of the same world. We're all together. This is all connected, and it makes sense to actually have it together, represented in a book like this. Symbolic, meditative, and spiritual fervor also. Yeah.
This sounds so current. Aware that photography was increasingly becoming mundane and banal, and that the experience of attention was crumbling in the face of accelerating transformation of reality.
It offers an imaginary world where modern subjects can be reconnected with the things surrounding them via the meditation on a diffuse and calm temporality. Yeah. Also the one that you like of the snake is there, focusing about, really close-up compositions. Yeah. Oh, all right.
Oh, I think, I think earlier I noticed that this image was cropped. Now we're looking at the same image, and the top of these mountains were not cropped.
Oh.
So I think, I don't know what we're looking at. I think we're looking at scans of these prints, I'm assuming, but people must have got different versions. So maybe like all that tilt that you noticed was not necessarily in the original image.
Yeah, that's an interesting
possibility.
Yes, of course.
Because I can swear, I closed the tab now. Is it this one? No, I closed it already. And it was this was cropped in the top.
Yeah.
This one is so beautiful.
It's so nice.
So contrasty.
Yeah.
I like contrast. It's a new thing to me that I start liking contrast. Usually I used to like faded, washed out colors. But sometimes contrast is nice.
I think contrast is very, very good in certain situations, and specifically this kind of photography. This one of the classes I love.
It's beautiful. What's happening here?
It's the repetition, is deciding using different sizes of the flask and put them slightly in different places, and then playing with the reflections of themselves as well to create the composition. Is a beautiful photo.
It is indeed.
Should be in all the labs in the world.
It's very trippy. I think this is where the table is.
Yeah.
And I like that you can see this one cutting it off as well. This is from the same collection, I think, as the other one we were looking at. Oh, this one is really nice.
That one, I really love this one.
Here, they're talking about the focus on the vertical landscape you were talking about earlier.
It's not that common, but to me, it's a very... I feel like by using vertical, you kind of give more room and importance to the subject that you're trying to have in your photo, and the landscape is more the whole together. Yeah. Somehow.
I think with the landscape, at least the way that I think, or that I think of it in my head, making portrait orientation landscape photos, it's never a traditional landscape photo in a way. It's like you're never really showing the scene. You're more like using the scene.
Yeah, so you're having a subject
composition of some sort.
Yeah.
He does it. He did it earlier with one of the photos that we looked at. I think I lost it. Of the water reservoir with a bridge in the back. Those kind of photos, even though it's in landscape orientation, it's not necessarily a typical landscape photo. And I don't know who put the definitions or who says what is typical and what is not. But for me, it's like, you think of a normal landscape photo, you're looking at a scene and look how beautiful this scene is.
As a total. Yeah, this is what I have the feeling too.
Representing it. It's weird because specifically that photo, I'm assuming, the reservoir kind of looked something like that. But I think something with the print, something with the exposure makes it more...
Focus, would you say?
No, it makes it more... I know you're going to yell at me, but more abstract.
No, why am I going to yell at you? I understand perfectly what you mean. Yeah, this is what I was saying also. With this orientation, is kind of, you are abstracting the fact that it is within a landscape, but you are focusing on one part of it and then representing that. Yeah, I agree with.
I want to go back to that photo. How do I?
Maybe it's the first link. Yeah.
So this is a good example here. I think the main focus, to me, at least the way I experience this photo, is not this scene.
Is the pattern.
The composition.
Yeah.
So these lines could be made out of anything, and I would like it equally. Does that make any sense?
Yes, but also like, what is the limit? Because when you when one makes a landscape photo, because the landscape looks nice, you also kind of embed composition into the thinking of how to take the photo.
Yeah, but the style is different.
The
like
style
so
is different,
you can use the rule of thirds. You can use I don't know what else you can use. Negative space. I mean, negative space, we're stepping into a little bit of abstraction sometimes, but this one is it falls, to me at least, under the line rule.
Yeah.
And all of these different lines and how beautiful they are and the way they are selected. Do you know what I mean? There's so much line play happening in this photo, like this rigid fence in the bottom that is like not perfect, but it is kind of trapezoid, and it's contrasting with this really smooth curve.
Yes,
and then you have this even more free flowing line there, another one here, and then these, they feel like trees, but they also can be like fungi on a plate in a petri dish.
Yeah, if you abstract it to that level, and you can have different levels of it. Yeah.
But that's the way that it's presented to me.
Yeah.
I can only see it in that way. Do you know what I mean? I can't really focus looking at this image. I can't really focus on the landscape.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just me, but I could tell you that you can take a similar photo of this scene and not give me this feeling. So I think that's the point that I was trying to make here. Let me see if I can pull up that other image. What's going on here?
We're getting some recommendation from CM. If you like German objectivity, check out Hila and Bert Becker. All my time favorite photographers.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Can you maybe copy and paste them in the note?
Yeah, that's what I just did.
Yeah, cool. This one is the one of the reservoir that I was talking about. You have to like find the elements of the landscape really to
realize it's a landscape.
Yeah. Similar photos have been done with the dunes, sand dunes and stuff like that, with water surfaces. But again, it depends on how you point your camera and how you expose and how you print, how you process the whole thing. Sometimes it's like, what am I looking at? It's so cool, but I don't even know what I'm looking at. Then you realize you're looking at sand dunes, but the dunes become just like oil paint or whatever. It's just a utility to display a shape or an image. And to me, this is what I'm like, sometimes I'm confused about these definitions. It's like, especially, maybe it doesn't really work with this group as much as with the group 64, because if you think of Ansel Adams photos, you can always tell what you're looking at. I know I'm looking at Yosemite or a door or whatever, It's beautiful, very beautiful exposure, great print, but I know what I'm looking at. There's a couple of photos that like the contrast is beautiful, that are kind of like
one step
Ansel Adams on steroids,
yeah,
basically.
Like one step,
but and you still are more aware of what you're looking at.
Yeah,
it's very clear to you what you're looking at. When I look at this photo, it's like, what am I looking at? It's very obvious that I have to think about it, and I can see a bridge there, but it's not so clear. So that's where I think they kind of
went different ways.
They do. At least to me, looking at these photos, I have no idea what the whole thing. Even with Imogen, her photos of the plants, I feel like they were more accurate, if I'm remembering correctly. She did do some experimental stuff, at least before she joined the group. She was more doing stuff like double exposures and stuff like that. But I don't know, I think you see, like, this takes kind of, it's interesting to talk about these differences and about the reasons why, but it takes away. Like the photos themselves and the tones and everything is more beautiful than any reason.
Yeah.
That's why I mentioned earlier that I don't really care about the reason these pieces came to be.
Mm-hmm.
I just happy that they exist and that they made them for whatever reason. I mean, look at this one. This one is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so, the contrast here is...
This is another one of the landscapes.
Yeah.
No? Or is it? Mechanisms that found. Fault mechanisms. Rocks and geological phenomena. Yeah. I remember us when we were in the north of Sweden, that we were in those places that were some small waterfalls, and it was all frozen, and there was a lot of ice and rocks together. There were a lot of vertical compositions that I was finding looking at that landscape and that scene, because it was rugged, it was very texturized, it was layerized, because you had the ice and you had the rocks and you had the rocks in the back and the rocks in the front. I could see so many vertical things, and I couldn't find any almost landscape thing that I liked.
I think most of the photos we took there were verticals.
Yeah.
It just made more sense to kind of isolate these different patterns and different textures in a way. And I mean, look at this one. It's crazy. The parts that are wavy, it looks like it's a multiple exposure almost. But then you have the pebbles on the side that are like so clear. These are pebbles.
Different texture and different
like
organization.
Like imagine if you just went into Photoshop and you selected this patch and then you did content aware fill. The image would be unrecognizable. Like it would be, what am I looking at?
Yeah,
you
true.
know? So I really love this contrast here.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that is focused on it, I think if you zoom back a little bit,
it would be a whole different thing.
Right? If this texture was just a small part in the image, it wouldn't be as powerful.
And that's just the end. And that's him. Yeah.
Okay, we have a clue about the camera. It looks like a 4x5.
Yeah. I mean, many of the photos I saw, it gave me the vibe of like large format, probably 4x5 by 8.
The aspect ratio.
Yeah, the aspect ratios, yeah.
Yeah, but like look at the size of his hand.
Yeah, it looks tiny.
Yeah, it's a 4x5.
Relatively. What do you think is reflected on a car?
Yeah. I don't know what it is.
Right?
It's so cool. This looks like an old headlight. You know, the ones that are like just a cone with the glass on top in the front.
Mm-hmm.
Not a cone, but like I don't know the name of the shape. Almost like a cone, and the bulb in the front.
Yeah.
And this is the window. So this is the steering wheel would be here, and that's the door, and this is. But why is it so curvy?
I guess because the light containment is really curvy, so you are seeing all the representation of the curve in there in the photo, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting some highs. Hello, hola. These are my cousin or my cousin's daughters. I don't know, one of the two.
Anything else in this document?
No, that was it. Basically, it's a nice comprehensive.
Yeah,
and it's about the
here. That's the photo we were looking at earlier. Here, it's almost tilting the other way.
Yeah, it's a bit different, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what is the true one? We never know. Maybe someone decided to fix it and put it.
Oh, this one is cool. We haven't come across this one before.
Oh, that's true.
I really like this one. Again, the contrast between the, let's call them materials again, it's very similar to the pebble and rock formation one, in the sense that you have the residential. I think this is from the same collection you were talking about earlier.
It's I really like also. I mean, it feels like two worlds put together, right? Like you have these houses or these buildings, and then you have the big tower chimneys from the fabrics, but also you have the haze. So it's kind of like the separation between these two things.
It's so cool. CM is saying that it's 9x12 or 13x18.
Yeah, of course.
Probably. Yeah, that's true. These are the European standards that are more or less equivalent to the 4x5 and 5x8 American standards.
5x8 is a format?
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't think you can find it.
So much.
I think it's 5x8. I don't remember. But
in between 10x10 and 4x5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which would be similar to 13x18.
Mm-hmm.
But it would vary a little bit. 5x7. Thank you, CM.
There's a one in the right. I really like it.
This one.
Yeah.
This one is reminding me of 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Lucien. Really cool. But I mean, I think Lucien kind of ruined us when it comes to architectural.
Yeah.
It was so good, the photos. But these are still beautiful. I mean, this one. This one too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look, gears.
Yes, big ears.
Are they big? Are they small?
I think they're big, no?
You will never know. All right, I'm gonna try to find the current photographer that we said.
That is doing the microchips.
Yeah, I can't remember the name. I will try to find it. Can you tell us about other stuff?
What what can I tell you?
I don't know. Fill the time while I find it.
Yeah, I'm not so good at improvising sometimes. But yeah, he's gonna look into these microchips in 8x10 with macro. And on my side, what can I say? I've been exploring a new kind of photography because I got a half frame camera for first time ever. It was one of those kind of camera that I didn't have yet. I have tried even 4x5 that we were able to borrow a camera. I had tried, 35 SLRs, rangefinders, point and shoots, some focusing, medium format TLRs, SLRs, and point and shoots, everything. But I had not yet gotten a half frame camera. And in case you don't know what half frame is basically a camera that is able to use 35mm film, but you can take 2 photos in the same space that you would take 1 photo in a normal 35mm camera. So this brought up kind of 2 advantages. One, it was that per photo it was kind of cheaper because you kind of get the cost by half. You get 72 photos instead of 36. But of course also brought a little bit of less resolution because you're kind of making the area where you have your photo is smaller than in 35. So Jimmy really likes going super big, and I wanted to try to go a little bit smaller even, but not because I wanted to take more photos per se per roll. I was thinking that I really wanted to explore working in pairs, so doing more thoughtful photography where I want to always pair up 2 photographs together that kind of tell a story or they mean something together. So in the end I also want to get just like a normal 35mm frame, so to speak, but it's made of 2 separate images, what is called a diptych. And I have to say I'm really liking working with this camera. We got an Olympus Pen FT, which is beautiful, very nice. It's an SLR, so what you see through the viewfinder is what you are getting.
It's so cool because of the way the mirror is.
Yeah, it's very special. So they made up a new...
The mirror sideways like this.
Because that's another thing why I like it so much. The viewfinder is vertical, it's not horizontal, which allows me to always think in vertical. Which
is a common thing, seems to be in half frame. Even the other one we got 2 days ago was vertical, right? The Canon Demi.
Canon Demi. Yeah, so we decided to go for half frame and we ended up getting more than 1 half frame camera.
Yeah, all of a sudden we had no half frame cameras and now we have 3. There's one on the way. I got the Yashica.
And that one is going to be horizontal.
Yeah.
So there's another horizontal one. Is the Canon Dial. 35 to Canon Dial is a super weird camera looking. It's called Dial because it looks like an old telephone, the ones that you used to do like this. And this,
that's how you wind.
Yeah, you wind.
It has a handle that you spin.
Yeah, and that
so
one,
weird.
It also allows for fast shooting. So what the winding does is that it's kind of spring loaded, and then you can take photos like
Really?
Yeah, that's what I read.
Interesting.
So the one you got, the super advanced one, because I'm gonna call it the super advanced one. Everything is automatic and autofocus, and it's a SLR as well. The Yashica Samurai. That one is not vertical because you will see that the film is actually put to roll from bottom to top or top to bottom.
Okay.
So then you actually take photo. But in all the other ones we got, you basically still put it side to side like a normal camera. So then you take 1 photo, 2 photo, 3 photo, like this.
I think I hope I like it. I like the way it handles. I hope it makes sense. They didn't make any stupid decisions because I really like the zoom Olympus. What is it called? Olympus AZ300.
Yes, zoom.
And it's a weird.
You want me to get it so you can show it?
Yeah, sure. It's really cool. It's like a dad video camera. It looks like like a bridge camera or like a what do you call it? A video camera. So you hold it like this.
That is an analog film camera, guys.
Yeah. It's super cheap. You can see the price. 150 kronor. 150 Swedish crowns. And it's pretty cool. Here's the normal stuff. And it's very loud. The gears sound. Listen to this.
It sounds like it's getting tired of getting out.
You have to click it twice to get it all the way to 150. 150 millimeters, full frame. Look at it. This one is cool, but the stupid thing is that the zoom is here. They should have put it somewhere here, and so you can operate it single hand. The cool thing about this one is that it has some buttons here to control. And it remembers them. So like I can put the flash off, and then I can say, okay, I want you to overexpose by 1 stop or whatever. If I want to change the rating of my film, and it will keep it that way throughout the whole roll. It can overexpose by 1.5 and underexpose by 1.5. And then you can choose your driver. So a single shot continuous or
Super advanced.
self-timer. Yeah. And then whatever you set it to, it will remember it. So even if you turn it off and back on, it will still retain. So if you don't want to flash ever, you can keep it. This one, I can never have flash because it's broken. So wish me luck fixing it.
It was born in the year you were born.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I read something like that. So it's pretty cool. And the viewfinder here, it zooms with you, and it corrects for the parallax, I think. Because most of the zoom ones, they have a line, and that's like the suggestion where the new frame is going to be. This one doesn't have that line. So I'm assuming it moves. Maybe it changes perspective. So I did find the photographer.
Oh, nice.
And I don't know if I can pronounce the name. He's currently working. Christoph, I think, Morlinghouse. And these are the computer chips that I was talking about earlier. These are shot on 8x10 with a...
They're so trippy.
Yeah, macro basically.
But is this a static photo? Because it looks like it has movement.
No, it is a static photo.
Like, you know what I mean, right? That
yeah.
Somehow it looks like there's like movement.
It looks crazy. It looks like a city. These are cranes in the bottom.
Yeah, right?
So many things happening inside a microchip.
How macro is this macro?
A lot of macro.
Like very macro, right?
It's 1-to-1 basically. Or no, it's not 1-to-1.
It has to be more.
It's 1 to whatever. Because 1-to-1 is the same size in real life as the same. So it's not filling up the whole sensor.
No, depending how big the sensor is, but obviously a microchip is not.
But that's what 1-to-1 means.
I think so, yeah.
1-to-1 is the size of the object has to be the exact same dimensions on the sensor.
Mm-hmm.
So these are tiny, and the 8x10 is 8x10. So good luck calculating the ratio of magnification. It's a lot. I mean, an 8x10, let's assume that this is the same size as the 35 millimeter frame.
Mm-hmm.
An 8x10 is the same area as the whole roll of 35.
Yeah.
So this is 1:36 if it was the same size as, right? Somebody in the chat, please help me out.
I think so.
If I was wrong,
a microchip that is 36 millimeter by 24, which is the size.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you have a 1-to-1 in that one, then it will fill the whole one.
Exactly.
And then if it's that the size, but you are making a full 8x10, then it's 36 times as much. Yeah, or more or less.
Yes. By the way, I learned about this photographer from the Fireside Shot by Silver Grain Classics. They talked to him, and he's done a lot of other cool stuff as well. But these are just insane. I mean, I don't even know what's going on here. I think they're super cool.
That one is so cool. The one you're looking right now.
Right?
It's just like, it's like, you know, like psychedelic art kind of thing.
But it's
like glitch art.
Glitch art. Yeah. It's crazy that it's Well, yeah, this one is the Motorola. You can see the logo here.
Where is it?
Yes, there's an M right here.
Ah.
That's the Motorola M. So I think these are like phone processors or something like that. They have to be super tiny. And
The amount of detail is crazy.
right?
Yeah.
And to me, they look like busy cities. Like these are streets, and these are buildings, parking lots. I don't know, gardens with so much metal in them. Super cool gallery, and they're so freaky that I don't know. I think we now are repeating,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
good luck remembering the difference between all these.
Right.
Yeah, this was the last one. He has so many cool galleries. These I really like.
These are the crazy 8x10 shots, right?
All of them.
Of the crowds that
Of the
they look
crowd.
so flat because you work with the movement, right?
Yeah, exactly. So this one is obviously a curve or like a tilt. So this is a football field. So the people are standing like some in the front, some in the back. But with the 8x10, you can tilt to match the focal plane.
That's crazy.
And that's how you can get all of these. I mean, you also have to stop down so you can make the cone. But still,
I mean, it's a long exposure photography.
it's
for
not it's not very long. It's long-ish because like if you zoom in, you can see some people's faces are.
But all
yeah.
those flags, they are very, very moved, I guess.
Yeah.
They were being moved quickly, I guess.
I mean, look at all this crazy detail here.
Yeah.
Imagine having a giant print of this.
It's crazy. And there is a fence in front of all of them.
Yeah, that's
like,
the so the balls don't go on the
that
crowds.
fence, yeah.
It's so cool. It does a lot of cool stuff with. Oops, sorry about that one. This one is really cool. He does a lot of cool stuff with industrial stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's if you Google him, there's a photo on Google of him sitting next to this thing with this camera.
Those are so nice.
I'm going through because I want to.
Oh.
This is a warehouse.
Crazy.
So much sunlight. But where is Waldo? Yeah, exactly, Tim. Where is Waldo?
The previous one, I really liked it.
This one?
No, the one before. Yeah.
This one seems like a rocket.
Yeah,
this one is really cool. This is a cross section of a ship. Of like a big cruiser ship. These are all like the rooms. Would be the engine room and stuff like that. I don't know so much about ships. Look how many different floors. Yeah. It's a giant ship, basically. Real cool. Here you can see. It's gonna be basically this is the hull of the ship. Like this is where it's gonna be continuing the construction.
Crazy. Those hangars for making boats.
I'm looking for one. He told a story, but I think it's here. I mean, I'm sorry I'm going through these so fast. But
that's one I just like.
Again, you have the crowds. And it's just insane. I mean, yeah, it makes sense to take it with an 8x10.
It's so cool.
And something about the processing, I think the sharpen, it almost looks like they're made out of Play-Doh.
Yeah, they seem a little bit unreal.
They might be actually toys. What are we looking at here? These are toys.
No.
These are toys.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I am sure these are toys.
How do you know?
Look at them on the big screen. Come. These are not humans.
What?
Yeah, I think these are toys. Look at the flag. These are toys. Sorry, guys.
Okay, what do you guys think? Are they toys or are they people?
Let's see if it says anything.
I think...
It doesn't say anything. Good luck figuring out what it is.
Yeah, Tim says you are right.
Am I right about what?
That they're toys, I guess.
I guess so. Richard Feynman once said, I see much more about the flower than he sees. I could imagine the cells in there, the complicated actions inside, which also have beauty. I guess this in reference to everything we talked about
Yeah,
today.
yeah. I think it was reference of the pictorialism or the objectivism, and that the painters and photographers,
Yeah, I'm trying to find that one. There is one shot in an airport. What was that about? I don't know. There was one in an Terminal 5. I think that's the one. He told a story on the Fireside. Maybe go watch it if you haven't. But he basically just went into an airport without necessarily a what do you call it? Not a permission.
a plane ticket or like.
No, yeah. Basically, he got in. He said, "I'm here to work on something," with his 8x10. And then they were like, "Okay, go ahead." Just goes in there, put the camera, takes a photo, and comes back out. Thought that was the coolest. I was like, "Okay, that's a good tip."
Just show up with a big piece of
He was
equipment.
talking about this photo.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing this whole gallery was basically, I'm here. I'm a repairman. Have you seen these videos where like these pranksters do this? I don't know if they're pranksters or social experimenters. I don't know. Don't want to mislabel anybody. People on both sides might have done it. But they take a ladder. And they just go anywhere because they have a ladder.
Oh, I have not seen that. Actually.
Yeah, they go past any security points. Like, hey, I'm here to fix the ducts. And they were like, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, this is I think it falls in the social engineering type of realm.
Yeah. Link. Okay, I will put also the link for this one.
That'd be great.
In
I really like
the description.
The airport ones.
Yeah, I hope we can talk to him one day.
That'd be great.
If he has time or if he's settled somewhere. I guess nowadays traveling is yet maybe not possible so much, so maybe we get lucky. Yeah.
Oh, there's the one. There was one I really liked. The one before this one.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't want to go through all the photos because I feel like Christoph deserves a
own
like episode by himself, because like the topography ones are just crazy here. Look at those. I've looked at this website so many times. Look at these ones.
So nice.
No, then maybe I think geology. Yeah, these ones.
What's that?
I don't know, but it's gorgeous. It's really, 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 really cool. Look at these. They're just beautiful.
That's so nice.
They kind of remind me of that photographer that has super famous, super expensive photos that we talked about. And I was like, you showed me one that is the water. And then I said he has a bunch of photos from warehouses. And I showed you some photos that I took because of these photos. Do you remember the name of that photographer?
No, I'm sorry.
You could have stopped me earlier and you could have said, I don't remember. But these photos kind of remind me, some of these at least, remind me of those.
I might actually have it saved.
I think this photographer is the reason I really want to shoot 8x10. It's like I want to try and get something like this. Because look at this. Look at all the detail in that photo. It's sharp from edge to edge. And the colors are beautiful.
There is definitely something you cannot really get with any other medium than that. That very, very big.
I mean, you can potentially.
But not the same.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I would just like to have one. I don't promise I'm gonna make any good photos with it. I just like to just want to try. I mean, I think if you use like medium format, actually you might be right, CM. Andreas Gursky.
I'm gonna open it.
I'm so bad with names. So
yeah, it is that.
It is.
Yeah, the ones of this one.
Yeah. Yep. Yes. Those
Thank
are
you
the ones.
so much.
Thank you, CM.
He really has a good mind for names.
Right? Let's see. Where can we see some photos? I can't read. Selected works, I guess. Do I have to click them on? No. You have to know the name of the
publications
of the gallery. I think if we go to art net.
But so there was one on Amazon for example, and Bauhaus.
Look at this one. It's crazy. Yeah, this one is the one that I was like, oh, I was working at a warehouse at the time.
Oh, so cool.
And I was like, yeah, I have access to something similar, but we were not allowed to take photos at work. I did sneak a few photos in the warehouse. Don't tell nobody. I didn't publish them, but and now they can't fire me because I quit. Yeah, we actually had similar to these ones in the back, but those in the front, I think these are belts.
No, I think this might be. It looks like even on a floor full of things.
No,
it's a bit like confusing.
It is. It's so cool though, and I found a lot of similarities between some of those, like with the layers that go on.
Doesn't it say there what it is? Like on the ones we were looking before.
Oh, it's Amazon.
Yeah, so
this is one from Amazon, and Amazon, they do have these belts
that has all the pieces. And
yeah, they have like this crazy complicated system where it's like these robots basically that move these boxes, and these boxes, it's 2 layers. So there are boxes with specific items and boxes with orders, and they move on a grid, and then like this order is compiled of multiple items, and the buckets of items that correspond to the order, they just move around, and when they overlap they just drop one item, and that's how you collect the order. So basically buckets of single items over buckets of random orders, and they just
mix and match.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, I don't know if that's that or something like that. I don't know, it's crazy.
CM says there is a direct line from Patzsch to Becker to Gursky, all in the tradition of German objectivity. So these are all Germans.
Yep. I mean, and it's like I haven't researched as much, but it's just so like it jumps at you. So apparent.
Yeah.
Like in my head, I didn't look at the photos before the podcast. Usually Eva prepares, and I just look at them with you guys. And so yeah, it has to be that way. These ones as well.
Yeah, I really like the one of the road.
I can't find the one, the super famous one though. The one that sold for I don't know how many millions, or something like that. Maybe I'm misremembering.
Maybe that's why it's not there. I don't know.
It's very famous. I think if I just go to Google and then hit images, it will show up. This one.
Ah.
Yeah, this is a famous one. But yeah.
Really cool.
Very cool stuff. I mean, it's inspiring. It's definitely inspiring to see that how much you can just do with the simplest stuff.
So yeah, apart from of course discussing the validity of different movements coming up to be and what it means, and if there's something beyond the photographs, I think looking through all these examples and this good work, it just opens our eyes to what things are around and how we can actually photograph things that we have around, and that might mean more or less to us. The motivations for ourselves, they might be different, but how beautiful a photo looks and how pleasant it is to take it and to look at it, they might be the same, even if the goals are different, So I think that these kind of photographs are just beautiful, and if I would be able to take photographs that look as good as that, I would be so happy,
Definitely. I mean, there's something about making something beautiful from something that is just right in front of you that is also creative. I mean, the idea is, like, we looked at the Spanish artist, I can't remember the name, when the guy who was playing with the Polaroids. And you would say, like, okay, this is obviously something very creative. You're changing it so much to the point that you're putting so much work in after the fact.
Samaras, right?
Samaras, yeah. And yeah, but that's the thing about creativity, is that it can't be defined in one single way, and beauty as well. There is no one single definition. I think that's the thing when I got like a little bit bothered earlier, is that putting a single definition on anything is not so helpful. And the beautiful thing about these photos, about the German objectivism, is that it's taken these very, like, let's call them not lifeless, but very
Mundane or like...
Yeah, I mean, very rigid themes in a way, and then turning them into something beautiful and playful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the warehouses.
And poetic even in a sense,
Yeah.
if you stand the definition of poetry. And
I mean, I mentioned in the chat the world's most expensive photo, and he's referring to this one that we're looking at on the screen. And yeah, these are so beautiful. Like, I mean, this one just looks like a poster from Rodchenko.
that one, yes.
You know,
It's so...
and like when we looked at Rodchenko's work, and we were amazed by like the creativity, by the utilization of the straight lines to just make something that jumps at you, and then you have here Gursky is doing it with a photograph of what seems to be like a hotel lobby or convention center or something like that.
Crazy.
You know, it shows you that the possibilities are endless, and you just, you know, get out there and have fun with your camera.
Try to take it, try to see the things around maybe in a different way.
Yeah.
That's great. I loved today's podcast. Photographer.
I really enjoyed all the photos today. We hope you also did enjoy them over there at home.
How is the computer doing, by the way?
Oh yeah, today, by the way, my computer is sitting on 2 blocks of ice. I'm not joking. I am not joking. After not yesterday, but last week's
mayhem.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I don't know why it happened. This next day, we're very sorry about what happened last week. It was such an important podcast, and usually, like, we seem to have ironed out all the issues. I don't know, is there any lag now in our feed? But I mean, we didn't have lag before.
No.
Maybe a few episodes in the past, but it seemed to be doing okay.
The sync was also okay, yeah.
But the first thing that fell apart was the sync.
Yes.
And then, you know, the computer was super loud, and then it was no lag today.
The connection went away.
And then we dropped the whole connection, and we couldn't get it back online. Like, I kept trying to connect, and we wouldn't connect, and I couldn't restart my laptop because, you know, we were talking to Regis, and he also
got a power outage.
Yeah, the light turned off in his place.
So
it was crazy. I don't know what was going on last week, but
then we decided to do some heavy testing. Like, you were doing some heavy testing of a stream plus everything together.
I streamed. I jumped in a Zoom meeting with Eva's computer, kept it running for 8 hours, and I did the most complicated graphics that we ever use, and I made them more complicated. And
you tried to see how much was it taxing on the system,
everything.
And the different things, yeah.
But nothing happened. The computer was taking it like nothing. It
didn't disconnect at any point?
It didn't. It was straight 8 hours of streaming, possibly 9 hours. And
crazy.
Not a single glitch. The next day, the next day. So, but just to be safe, I put some... I even have spare ones. These ones. These are just like freezer packs. Ooh, I sprayed my computer with water. So yeah, there's 2 of these under the computer right now. I don't know if it's doing anything.
It's not sounding as much as before.
It's not?
It's more silent, I think.
Nah.
No?
It's still. I think it's just because it's raised from the table.
Ah, okay.
But anyways, I think we should wrap up today. What do you think?
Yeah, sure.
By the way, I promised to play with the SX70 stuff and do like some tests with the Polaroid. I completely forgot.
We have a new XS70 though.
Oh yeah, we have a new SX70. We did get another one.
So maybe we can actually use that one and try some stuff.
Yeah, but I already loaded it with black and white.
Ah, that's true.
Well, I mean, you can still play with black and white. We'll see. We might do some experimentation. Because I promised 2 weeks ago that I would do it, but then we had the guest lined up, so I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do it in the guest episode, and then I completely forgot about it.
Maybe on the coming ones.
I just remember it like right now.
Nice.
But anyways, I think that's it for today. Thank you everybody for watching, liking, subscribing, commenting, joining us live or later. We love all of you, especially the ones that join us live, because
yeah.
What?
I was gonna say we're soon getting to 1,000 subs, and we have some ideas of doing a giveaway. So it's nice if you spread the word about that. It's gonna come soon. So
we'll make that announcement
yeah,
on its own
for sure.
when it happens. Thank you, Lawrence. We are glad that you enjoyed it. My voice is going away.
That
I'm
means
sorry.
something.
It means that we have to wrap up.
Yes.
Thank you so much, everybody. We love you. Have a good night. See you next week.
Yes. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.